If you are over 60 and Social Security alone is not covering the bills, that is not a personal failure on your part. That is a math problem the Amish quietly solved 150 years ago. By the end of this video, I will show you the exact $800 a week system that Susan, 64, runs out of her kitchen in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And I will show you how to get the full plain money method, including the 50 to 400 Cash Playbook, on sale this week for $27. This is the system that replaces a pension when you no longer have one, and supplements Social Security when it is no longer enough. But first, 3 things nobody told you about how the Amish actually generate real income after 60. Here's the trap, and you already know you're inside it. The average Social Security check in America right now is around $1,900 a month. The average rent for a 1-bedroom is $1,500. Groceries for a single senior, around $400. Prescriptions, over $100. That is before the electric, the water, the gas, the car insurance, and anything that resembles a life. 46% of Americans over 65 have less than $10,000 in savings. That is from the Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances. That is not me. That is them. And the pensions that were supposed to catch us, the ones our parents had, those are gone. In 1975, 88% of private workers had a pension. Today, 15% do. That is not bad luck. That is policy. So, if you're sitting at the kitchen table this month wondering how the numbers are supposed to work, you are not failing. The system is doing exactly what it was redesigned to do. Which brings me to Susan. By the way, Susan from Grand Rapids, Michigan. 64. Widow. Lives on a $1,200 Social Security check and a small pension from her late husband that ran out 2 years ago. 14 months ago, she started with $50 and 1 Amish principal. Last week, she deposited $810 in cash flow from her kitchen. She does not have a website. She does not have Instagram. She does not have a side hustle in the way the gig economy means it. She did not learn this from CNBC. She did not learn it from a broker. She did not learn it from a financial advisor. She found it in the first link in the description. Anyway, here's the part of the story most Americans have never been taught. In 1971, President Nixon took the United States off the gold standard. That is a phrase you have heard. Most people do not know what it means in their own kitchen. Before 1971, the dollar was tied to a fixed amount of gold. The government could not just print more without consequence. After 1971, the dollar became, in their own words, a fiat currency. It is worth what they say it is worth, and they say it is worth less every year. From 1971 to today, the dollar has lost about 86% of its purchasing power. Federal Reserve data, not opinion. And here's the part nobody connects. Before 1971, a senior could supplement Social Security with a small home operation. Selling pies, doing repairs, fixing watches, teaching piano. $200 a month from a kitchen table operation was a real supplement. After 1971, inflation made those numbers a joke. To earn what your grandfather earned with a side stream, you now need scale. Scale needs a loan needs a bank, and the bank takes its piece. The Amish never let any of that happen. Here is what they did instead, and what Susan does now. The Amish economy is built on what researchers at Penn State call skill stacking. Not one business, not one income stream, 5 or 6 small, low overhead, complementary streams running at the same time out of the same household. None of them require a loan. None of them require a website. None of them require employees. An Amish woman in Lancaster County does not run a bakery. She runs 4 things from a bakery-shaped kitchen. She sells bread on Tuesdays. She bakes wedding pies on weekends. She runs a small canning operation in the fall. She teaches younger women how to do all 3 for a small fee. 4 streams, 1 kitchen, 1 set of tools. The total is more than any single business would earn, with less risk than any one of them carried alone. The Amish call this the kitchen table economy. Sarah Byler in Adams County, Indiana, who has kept her household ledger for 40 years, told me the average household runs 6 streams. 6, not 1. And not one of those streams started with a loan. They started with what was already there, a skill, a pantry, a small tool, a neighbor who needed something done. The system is 200 years older than the gig economy, and it works for one reason. The gig economy does not. It does not make you the product. The Amish woman sells what she makes. The gig worker sells her own time at a price someone else sets. There is the line. Sell the thing, not your hours. Before I go on, I need to stop for 4 minutes and tell you exactly what Susan did from week 1 to last Tuesday. Because if you recognize yourself in her story, the rest of this video changes for you. And if you do not, the link is already in the description. You can skip ahead. I will meet you on the other side. I think you will recognize yourself. Watch this. Susan was a registered nurse for 31 years at a hospital outside Grand Rapids. Her husband Don was a high school history teacher. They were not rich. They were comfortable in the old-fashioned sense. Dawn passed in 2021. The widow pension from the school district ran for 18 months and then stopped. Suddenly, Susan was alone on $1,200 a month in a paid-off house she could not afford to heat. She tried the gig apps, DoorDash, Rover, the grocery app where you bring food to a stranger. She made about $70 a week before the gas, the wear on her car, and the back pain. After 2 months, she stopped. She told me, and these are her words, "I felt like I was selling pieces of myself for a tip." Then, in late summer 2023, her granddaughter sent her a link to a short video about an Amish woman in Holmes County who ran 4 small businesses out of one kitchen. Susan watched it 3 times. Then she opened a notebook and wrote down everything she already knew how to do: cook, bake, sew, garden, read with kids, care for sick people, sit with people who needed company. 7 skills. None of them required a website. None of them required a loan. All of them were things her neighbors actually needed. She started with 1. Soup, a pot, twice a week. 8 servings, $10 a serving, delivered within 5 miles. 8 customers, all from her church. $160 a week. By week 3, she added a second. Mending and small alterations. 2 evenings a week. $120 a week. She added a third. Reading hour for working moms. Tuesday and Thursday afternoons. $320 a week. She added a fourth. Sunday afternoon companionship for a 90-year-old widow down the street. $40 a week. 14 months in, she runs 5 streams. Last week, $810. Here is what Susan did not understand for years. The problem was never that she could not earn extra money. The problem was she was looking for one big thing, one job, one business, one side hustle. That is the wrong frame. The Amish frame is not one big stream. It is 5 small ones, each less than 2 hours a week, each generating between $40 and $300, each scalable later if you choose. It is not a side hustle. It is a stack, and the stack is built around what you already know how to do in the place you already live for the people who already trust you. No website, no app, no middleman. That is the system. That is what is in Chapter 6 of the book and in the 50 to 400 Cash Playbook bonus. Here is what is in the bundle this week. The Amish Money Code Ebook itself, 7 chapters, 168 pages, 87 sources cited, $47. The $2 Ledger Template Pack, printable, one for every month of the year, $37. The $3 Envelope Starter Kit, $27. The 401k Escape Plan, the $7 Amish Alternative, the Rollover Phone Script, the 3 tools any American can copy, $47. The 50 to 400 Weekly Cash Playbook, 12 income streams. This is the one Susan used, $67. The Sunday Reckoning Audio Ritual, $27. Lifetime updates, every future revision, free forever, $37. And for the next 48 hours after you watch this video, the Personal Money Audit email. Write 1 email, get 1 customized response, $97 on its own, total stack value, $386. This week, $27. Here's the part Susan did not believe at first either. Try it for 90 days. If your first stream does not bring in real money, write 1 email with 1 word. Refund, you get every dollar back, you keep all the bonuses, forever. That is not me being generous, that is me being honest. If it does not work for you, you should not pay for it. Okay, back to the video. The next thing I'm going to show you is the actual list of the 12 streams, 4 at a time, so you can see which ones fit you before this weekend. Watch this. Stream 1, the soup route, the lowest barrier of any stream in the playbook. A pot of soup costs about $6 in ingredients, makes 8 servings, sells for $10 a serving. $80 revenue, $6 cost, $74 net, twice a week. Anybody who can read a recipe can run this. The hardest part is not the cooking, it is the route. 8 neighbors, 3 blocks apart, every Tuesday at 5. That is the customer base. Stream 2, the mending circle. If you can sew on a button or hem a pair of pants, this stream pays. The dry cleaner near Susan charges $12 to hem 1 pant leg. She charges $6 and goes to the customer's house. 2 evenings a week, almost $100 a week, in a chair while a movie plays. Stream 3, the reading hour. Working parents are desperate for safe, low cost, no screen time after school care. Susan reads to 4 kids in her living room from 3 to 4:30 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. $20 per child per session. $320 a week, books from the library. Stream 4, the companionship visit. There are about 17 million Americans over the age of 80 living alone. Many of them have grown children who would gladly pay $50 for someone to sit with their mother for 2 hours on a Sunday afternoon. You bring coffee, you listen, you read out loud. That is the entire service. And listen, if part of you is still saying, this cannot be that simple, this cannot be true, that is exactly what Susan thought too. That is what the system has trained all of us to think. Because if plain money worked at scale, The gig economy would lose customers. The pension industry would lose customers. That is why this knowledge has been buried for 3 generations. The link is in the description. $27, 90-day guarantee, bonuses you keep either way. Now let me show you streams 5 through 12 because one of them might be the one that fits you. Stream 5, the seasonal garden share. If you have a backyard plot, 6 tomato plants, and a few squash will outproduce one household. 3 farm stand customers, $10 each for 10 weeks of summer, $300 over a season with 1 hour of work a week. Stream 6, the Sunday meal prep. Cook 3 meals for a single working professional on Sunday afternoon. $60 per meal package, 2 clients, $120 a week in the same kitchen you already cook in for yourself. Stream 7, the dog walk circle. Not the app version where you make $8 a walk. The neighborhood version where you charge $30 to walk 4 dogs together for 30 minutes. Earl from Asheville does this. 67, walks 4 golden retrievers around the same block every morning at 7. $300 a week, plus his health came back. Stream 8, the handyman half hour, hanging a picture, fixing a doorknob, tightening a faucet, $40 per call. 2 calls a week, $80, total time invested, 2 hours. Stream 9, the piano lesson revival. If you played piano at any point in your life and you have not forgotten where middle C is, you can teach beginners. $25 per half-hour lesson, 4 students a week, $100 a week. Stream 10, the errand circle, for seniors who do not drive or working couples who never have time. Pharmacy, post office, grocery, dry cleaner, $40 per errand circuit. 3 clients on the same afternoon, $120 in 4 hours. Stream 11, the freezer service. You cook 5 dinners for 1 family on a Saturday, freeze them, label them, deliver them, $150 per family, 2 families, $300 on 1 Saturday. Stream 12, the skill stack class. Once you have run 2 or 3 streams, you teach other people how to start theirs. $45 workshop, 8 women in a living room, $360 twice a month. Margaret in Lubbock runs this version of it now. $600 once a month from her church basement. There are the 12. The full playbook has the setup script for each one, the legal threshold for casual income, and the exact phone scripts for finding your first 4 customers. None of them require a loan. None of them require a website. None of them put you on a platform that takes 30%. Now here's what I want you to do this weekend. Not next week. This weekend. Saturday morning, before you do anything else, sit down with a cup of coffee and a piece of paper. Write down 5 things you already know how to do, that a neighbor would pay something for. Cook, sew, drive, garden, type, organize, listen, read, fix, teach, whatever it is. Cross out anything you do not actually enjoy doing. From what is left, pick one. Just one. The one with the lowest barrier to start. Then do these 3 things. 1. Make a list of 5 people within 15 minutes of your house who might pay for that thing. Family does not count. Friends count. 2. Pick a price that is half of what a professional charges. Just half. You will adjust later. 3. Call or text those 5 people on Sunday afternoon. Not Monday. Sunday. Because by Monday, the courage you found this weekend will be gone. The script is 2 sentences. I learned how to do this thing. I'm offering it for half of what it normally costs. Would you be interested? Out of 5 people, you will get 1 yes. That 1 yes is your first customer. That is week 1. The Amish farmer who taught Sarah Byler how to do this did not ask for a market study. He did not register an LLC. He did not buy ads. He walked across 2 pastures to his neighbor's house and said, "I'm growing more squash than my family can eat. Would you trade me some milk for it?" That was his first stream, 1978. 48 years later, that farm runs 9 separate income streams out of 1 barn. 3 generations live on it. None of them have a pension. None of them need one. Now here's the part most people get wrong, and I want to say it clearly. This is not a get-rich plan. This will not replace a 6-figure salary. What this does is something different. It puts a floor under you, a floor of $400, $800, $1,200 a week in your hands. That is not subject to the Social Security formula. That does not need a bank. That grows with the amount of effort you decide to give it. That floor is what a pension was supposed to be, what the system took away, what the Amish never lost. A quick reminder, and then we finish. The full Amish Money Code, the ebook, the $2 ledger pack, the envelope kit, the 401k escape plan, the 50 to 400 cash playbook, the Sunday Reckoning audio, lifetime updates, and the personal money audit email if you act in the next 48 hours. $386 in stack value. This week, $27, 72% off. The price goes back to $37 next month, and the personal money audit email expires 48 hours after you watch this video. That is not me creating fake urgency. That is the deadline our team holds because we raid the emails personally and we can only handle so many in a week. 287 readers picked it up in the last 7 days. 13 of them refunded. That is a 4.5% refund rate. We tell you that on purpose because honest beats clever every single time. The first link in the description. $27, 90 days to try it. 9,431 readers have picked this up since the channel started. If you are going to start one of the 12 streams this weekend, start it with the playbook in your hand. Susan did, so did Margaret, so did Earl. Now, the last thing. Let me show you Susan 1 year from where she started. Month 1, she ran 1 stream, soup, $160 a week. Month 3, 3 streams, $500 a week. Month 6, 4 streams, $640. Month 9, she added the pie season for the church, $710. Month 12, she settled into 5 steady streams, $810 a week on average. That works out to about $42,000 a year in cash, in addition to her $1,200 Social Security check. She does not file a small business return. Each stream is below the threshold where the IRS considers it a business. That is in Chapter 6. Her real take-home, after the small expenses, is around $38,000 a year of clean supplemental income, which is more than her late husband's pension was, which is more than most pensions ever paid. She works about 18 hours a week, most of it at her own kitchen table, on her own schedule, with her own people, for prices she set. She told me this on the phone 3 weeks ago. She said, "I do not feel poor anymore. That is the change. I do not feel poor anymore. That is the goal. Not rich, not famous, not retired in the Caribbean, just not poor anymore. The streams compound, the skill stacks. The kitchen table economy is the oldest financial system in this country, and it is still running. The Amish have been quietly proving it works for 3 centuries. The wage system, the 401k system, the pension system that no longer exists, the Social Security system that no longer covers a normal life. That system is the new one. That system is the experiment. The Amish system is the original. The new one broke. The original is still here. Before you close this video, one last thing. In the next 2 minutes, 2 things can happen. 1, you click the link, you pay $27. Tonight, you read Chapter 6. Saturday morning, you pick your stream. Sunday afternoon, you make the 5 calls. By next Friday, you have your first customer. A year from now, you're not poor anymore. The way Susan is not poor anymore. Or 2, you close this video. Tomorrow morning, the same Social Security check hits the same account. In a year, nothing is different. In 5 years, the floor under you has dropped further because the dollar keeps losing more of what it had. Both paths are real. Both end in a reality. The first link, the personal money audit. Email bonus closes 48 hours from now. Susan is sitting in her kitchen this Sunday afternoon making her usual $800. She did not have permission. She did not have a degree. She did not have a website. She had a notebook, a pot of soup, and the courage to call 5 neighbors. So can you. This knowledge does not belong to Wall Street. It does not belong to the gig apps. It does not belong to the bank. It belongs to you and to your grandparents and to the people who built this country before any of these institutions existed. Subscribe to this channel so no one forgets it.